You were not born to struggle. You were not fashioned by the Creator to be a servant to fear, nor a prisoner to emotion, nor a beggar for wealth. You were born to command not the world, not other men, but your own mind. And in mastering that mind, all things that seemed elusive, peace, prosperity, clarity, confidence, and yes, money become not objects of desperation, but instruments of your will. The average man lives his life reacting, the great man lives his life deciding, and herein lies the entire difference between the man who fears the bills and the man who builds empires. Stress about money is not caused by a lack of money. It is caused by a lack of mental sovereignty. It is not the absence of dollars in your pocket, but the absence of command in your spirit. To be ruled by circumstance is to be spiritually bankrupt, no matter the numbers in your bank account. The man who masters emotional detachment and disciplines the riot of thoughts within his head will find himself not only immune to stress, but magnetized to prosperity. Because wealth is not something you chase, it is something you attract when you have become its worthy steward. And worthiness is a function of order, discipline, clarity, and power within. If I were to teach you one law, one principle above all, it is this: he who governs himself governs his fate. And he who fails to master his internal kingdom will forever serve in external chaos. Understand this: there is a price to be paid for mastery, but it is far less than the price of mediocrity. Most men pay for their weakness with a lifetime of worry. Most women trade their peace for the illusion of control. But the man or woman who detaches from emotion, disciplines the mind, and moves with calm certainty through the storms of life, that person does not stress about money. That person shapes it. So let us begin at the root. What is the true problem? The problem is emotional reactivity, the tendency of the undisciplined mind to respond to the world like a leaf responds to the wind, passively, desperately, without direction. Most people react before they think. They speak before they reflect. They fear before they understand. They buy before they plan. They crave before they calculate. And then they wonder why they suffer. It is because the mind, left untamed, is not a servant but a saboteur. When a man becomes emotionally entangled in money, when he associates it with survival, self-worth, or status, he is no longer capable of using it wisely. He becomes desperate. Desperation blinds reason. And when reason is blind, decisions become erratic. And when decisions are erratic, wealth evaporates. You must never forget, emotion is the enemy of precision. Would you trust a surgeon who trembles with fear? Would you entrust your home to an architect overcome by panic? Then why would you entrust your financial future to your own mind, when that mind is chaotic, emotionally volatile, and undisciplined? The solution is not to get more money. The solution is to build more mental discipline. It begins with a law that few acknowledge and even fewer practice. I call it the law of mental neutrality, and it is this: until you can see the facts without coloring them with emotion, you are not qualified to act. To master this law, you must become an observer first, a thinker second, and an actor third, never the reverse. You must separate the stimulus from the reaction. You must pause between perception and response. You must interrogate your feelings as if they were strangers knocking on the door of your temple. You do not let every emotion walk in. You do not entertain every thought. Your mind is sacred ground. Treat it as such. A man comes to me and says, "I feel anxious every time I check my bank account." I ask him, "Why?" He says, "Because I'm afraid there won't be enough." I ask again, "Enough for what?" He replies, "Enough to feel safe." And there lies the truth. He is not seeking money. He is seeking an emotion. But emotions cannot be bought. Security is not found in digits. It is found in decisions. It is found in clarity, in order, in discipline. Until you confront the real desire beneath your financial stress, which is often not money, but peace, power, approval, or escape, you will forever be enslaved to a moving target. You must stop chasing money as a solution to your feelings. You must learn to command your feelings, and money will begin to chase you. Do you understand what I am saying to you? This is not self-help. This is not mere motivation. This is mental warfare. This is the reconditioning of the very engine of your destiny. The man who detaches from his emotional impulses and governs his thoughts with ruthless precision is the man who becomes untouchable. He does not fear poverty. because he has trained his mind to create wealth. He does not beg for security because he has built it within. He does not complain about stress because stress is a signal and he commands the signal. He listens, he learns, and he acts with total calmness. Which brings us to the next pillar, the power of calmness. Let us define calmness not as passivity, but as the highest form of power. Imagine a man who, in the face of market collapse, bankruptcy, rejection, or failure, walks silently into his study, sits in his chair, closes his eyes, and says, "Very well. Let us think clearly now. That man is not weak. That man is lethal. He has access to true intelligence, the kind that only becomes available when panic is silenced. Calmness is the precondition for clarity, and clarity is the womb of intelligent action. And intelligent action, repeated consistently, births wealth. It is never the panicked who prosper. It is the composed. Always. This is why you must train your nervous system like a general trains an army. You must command it under fire. You must instruct it to remain still in the presence of threats. You must desensitize it to noise, to urgency, to fear. How? Through practice, through reflection, through daily disciplines of stillness, silence, breath, planning, journaling, and deliberate thought. These are not hobbies. These are weapons. Now let us go deeper to the principle of thought first. If you wish to never stress about money again, this principle must become the foundation of your inner world. It is as follows. Thought precedes condition. Belief precedes result. Inner state precedes outer success. Write it on your wall. Carve it into your schedule. Drill it into your subconscious until it becomes instinct. Every dollar you earn is a reflection of a decision you made, and every decision is the child of a thought. Therefore, your income is not a product of the market, it is a product of your mental condition. And if your mental condition is reactive, scattered, desperate, or weak, your finances will follow suit. Thought must be crafted like a weapon. It must be forged through focus, clarity, repetition, and belief. This is why autosuggestion is not merely a gimmick, it is a tool of mental warfare. When you say to yourself daily, "I am calm, I am decisive, I am wealthy, I am the master of my mind," you are not lying to yourself, you are reprogramming the software of destiny. And when you repeat these affirmations while your body is still, while your breath is steady, while your mind is focused, you create alignment. Alignment creates power. Power creates action. Action creates results. But none of this is possible without definiteness of purpose. This is the root of all success. What do you want? What exactly do you want? Not vaguely, not emotionally, not dreamily, specifically, clearly, unmistakably. Until your desire is defined with surgical precision, your actions will be diluted. The mind cannot hit a target it cannot see. And an undefined target is the birthplace of financial stress. Most people are anxious about money because they have no direction for their energy. They work, they hustle, they grind, but they move in circles because there is no compass, no vision, no aim. Definiteness of purpose means you do not allow your energy to be scattered. You do not chase trends. You do not imitate others. You design your own mission. You write your own blueprint. You wake up every day and ask, is this action aligned with my definite purpose? And if the answer is no, you do not do it. This is discipline, and discipline is freedom. And so I ask you now, not gently, but with force, what is your purpose? Do you know it? Have you defined it? Have you declared it? Have you mapped it onto a schedule? Have you aligned your habits, your relationships, your words, your sleep, your consumption, and your emotional responses to this purpose? If not, then your stress is not surprising. It is predictable. Because when purpose is absent, chaos is king. But when purpose is present deeply, clearly, forcefully present, every emotion that does not serve that purpose begins to fade. You no longer have time to panic. You no longer entertain self-pity. You no longer sit in circles with people who gossip, complain, or speak fear into your vision. You protect your mind like a sacred temple. Because you understand now success is not built from mood. It is built from mental order. Understand this well. Detachment is not indifference. It is not apathy. It is not the absence of care. It is the highest form of care because it removes the interference of ego, fear, and irrational desire. Emotional detachment is not withdrawal from life. It is a strategic repositioning of your mind above life, where you can observe, decide, and command without being enslaved by the moment. He who detaches from emotion gains two priceless assets: clarity and control. And clarity and control are the parents of wealth. Ask yourself now, when do you make poor financial decisions? It is not when you are calm, alert, focused, and centered. It is when you are desperate, rushed, afraid, or intoxicated by desire. The marketing world knows this. The economy plays on this. Your emotions are the target of every advertisement, every urgent offer, every once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Why? Because when you are emotionally engaged, your logical faculties are dimmed. And a dim mind cannot see risk, cannot calculate wisely, cannot delay gratification, and therefore cannot build wealth. Let this become a personal law. Never make a financial decision while in a heightened emotional state. Never. Not when afraid, not when elated, not when angry, not when insecure. Wait. Breathe. Sit with the decision. Return to stillness. Let time become your ally. Let detachment become your shield. And from that stillness, when the waters have calmed, decide with the full strength of your trained mind. This is what separates the amateur from the master. The amateur reacts. The master calculates. The amateur panics. The master observes. The amateur seeks comfort. The master seeks clarity. And that master is who you must become. To never stress about money again, you must become a master of your emotions. You must train your nervous system like a soldier trains for war, not in comfort but in pressure. You must practice the art of calm under duress, of stillness in chaos, of inner neutrality when the world screams urgency. Every challenge you face, every bill, every delay, every rejection is a divine invitation to sharpen this skill. And what is the result of this mastery? Freedom. Because when you are no longer emotionally reactive to the world loses its power to control you. No news headline can shake your direction. No market fluctuation can rattle your peace. No external rejection can pierce your self-worth. You become what I call a mental fortress, impenetrable, deliberate, and sovereign. And money, in the hands of a sovereign mind, becomes a tool, a means, never a master. Let us now turn our attention to another sacred principle, accurate thinking. For what is the point of detachment, calmness, and purpose if your thinking is filled with error? Wealth requires a mind that sees clearly, that thinks in terms of cause and effect, that filters assumptions, that separates emotion from fact, opinion from truth, fantasy from possibility. Most people do not think. They repeat, they absorb, they echo the fears of others, they mistake emotion for insight, they confuse loudness for wisdom, and worst of all, they act without questioning the thoughts that drove them. This is mental suicide, and it is why so few people achieve lasting success. Accurate thinking begins with the question, is this thought true? Not, does it feel true? Not, did I hear it from someone successful? But, is it objectively, verifiably, measurably true? If you do not train this question into the foundation of your mental habits, you will make decisions based on illusions, and illusions are the enemy of results. For example, I'll never be rich. Is that true? Or is it a belief installed by failure, reinforced by fear, and accepted without resistance? I'm bad with money. Is that a fact? Or is it a label you've clung to because it explains your past? I can't succeed in this economy. Is that a universal truth? Or is it a convenient excuse disguised as logic? Your thoughts must be interrogated like a courtroom witness. Your mind must become a temple of rigorous standards. No thought enters without evidence. No belief remains without testing. And no emotion is trusted without being questioned. Once this habit of mental filtration is established, you will find something astonishing. The majority of the stress you experience is not caused by reality. It is caused by distorted thinking. And when you remove the distortion, what remains is solvable, actionable, peaceful. Now, let us go to the next level. If emotional detachment is the shield and accurate thinking is the sword, then self-discipline is the arm that wields them both. And without that arm, without the strength of discipline, even the greatest wisdom lies dormant. Self-discipline is not self-punishment. It is not suppression. It is not repression. It is alignment. It is the conscious act of bringing your actions into harmony with your purpose. Every time you say no to an impulse and yes to your mission, you build power. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you increase your capacity for freedom. The undisciplined man is a slave. He is pulled by emotion, distraction, indulgence, and comfort. He may dream of freedom, but he will never attain it because he has not earned the right to command himself. Let me be clear. The undisciplined man will always be stressed about money because money requires consistency, and consistency requires control. You cannot spend erratically and expect abundance. You cannot work sporadically and expect prosperity. You cannot live thoughtlessly and expect a fortune to obey you. Self-discipline is the invisible bridge between desire and attainment. It is what turns thought into habit and habit into result. And here is the secret. Self-discipline is not something you wait to feel. It is something you decide. You act first. The feelings follow. The disciplined man does not work when motivated, he works when it is time. He does not train when inspired, he trains because it is necessary. He does not save money when convenient, he saves because it is principle. And once these principles become non-negotiable, your life begins to change. Not dramatically at first, but predictably, quietly, powerfully, until the stress that once owned you begins to dissolve. Until you wake up one day and realize you no longer fear the numbers in your bank account, because your mind is the source of wealth now, not your paycheck. Let us now speak of autosuggestion, the ancient science of reprogramming the subconscious mind. You may have heard this term, but have you practiced it like your life depended on it? Because it does. The mind is a machine. It operates according to the instructions it is given most often. And most people run their mind on the default programming of failure, fear, limitation, and doubt, not because they want to, but because they have never taken control. Autosuggestion is how you take control. It is the deliberate, repeated use of words to forge belief, shape identity, and reinforce the reality you choose to inhabit. When you say, "I am calm under pressure," your nervous system listens. When you say, "I think clearly under stress," your mind adjusts. When you say, "I am financially sovereign," your behavior begins to align. This is not mysticism. This is mechanics. But repetition must be believed. You cannot whisper power while feeling powerless. You must speak your affirmations with certainty, with breath, with posture, with intensity. You must say it as if it is already true. And then you must act in harmony with what you have declared. And do not stop. Not for a day. Not for a week. Repetition creates reprogramming. Reprogramming creates habit. Habit creates identity. And identity creates outcome. You do not get what you want, you get what you are. So what are you? Are you a scattered mind, a fearful spirit, a financial victim? Or are you the commander of thought, the architect of habit, the steward of wealth? You must choose. And once you do, once you truly decide that you will become sovereign over your inner world, once you declare that your emotions will no longer govern your path, then and only then will you find yourself living in a new dimension. One where stress is replaced by clarity, where fear is replaced by focus, where money is no longer a source of anxiety, but a mirror of your discipline. There is a point in every man's life, a singular private hour, when he either rises into authority over his own consciousness or sinks permanently into mental slavery. And let me tell you, it is not poverty that ruins most men. It is the belief that their thoughts are facts, their emotions are truth, and their circumstances are final. But understand this, nothing is final until the mind accepts it as such. Every limitation that remains in your life remains only because you have permitted it. Every stressor that steals your peace is a thief you refuse to evict. And every recurring struggle with money is not a curse from the world, it is a signal from within. When a man masters his inner world, the outer world bends. But mastery cannot be inherited. It must be forged in silence, in solitude, in decisions no one sees. Let us now speak of what I call the sovereign mind, the highest level of self-governance and the only true insurance against financial fear. The sovereign mind is not swayed by gossip. It is not weakened by loss. It is not inflated by praise. It does not check the market before it checks itself. It moves by principle, not popularity, by order, not urgency, and by purpose, not emotion. The man who possesses a sovereign mind does not wake up and hope the world will be kind to him. He wakes up and reminds himself, the world is neutral. It is I who must be sharp. He knows that his reaction is his power, and so he does not give it away cheaply. He does not argue to feel important. He does not spend to feel worthy. He does not indulge to escape his mind because he has made peace with it. And because of this, he walks among others like a calm flame in a field of sparks, steady, bright, focused, unbothered. How do you become this? How do you train the sovereign mind? Through the daily practice of mental order. Not sometimes, not when inspired, daily. You must sit each morning and declare the conditions of your inner state before the world imposes its noise. You must remind your mind who is in charge. You must write down your thoughts and question them like a scientist dissects a specimen. You must say aloud, I am not my feelings, I am the commander of them. You must visualize not just success, but the version of yourself capable of holding it. And you must act in silence, in consistency, in integrity with your future self, even when nothing is visible, because faith is not belief without evidence. Faith is action in alignment with a vision only the disciplined can see. Let us now speak of perhaps the greatest secret of all, the one most ignored, most underestimated, most misunderstood. I call it the law of internal precedence. This law states, whatever you do not handle within yourself, life will force you to confront outside yourself. Do you feel chaos within? You will see chaos in your finances. Do you harbor resentment, guilt, or desperation? Your business will reflect it. Do you fear rejection or judgment? Your investments will mirror that hesitation. You cannot hide from your inner world. You project it, you echo it, you recreate it in deals, in delays, in debt. But the reverse is also true. The man who brings stillness to his inner temple brings order to his outer world, and that man is dangerous, not to others, but to the illusions that enslave them. He cannot be baited by get-rich-quick promises. He does not follow the herd. He does not panic sell. He does not sabotage his progress with cheap pleasure, because he has done the inner work. His thoughts are not loud. They are sharp. His emotions are not suppressed. They are directed. And his energy is not scattered. It is focused like a blade on one aim, sovereignty. Now listen to me closely. Until you confront the chaos within, you will recreate it in every paycheck, every partnership, every pursuit. It will hide in your procrastination. It will sneak into your spending. It will disguise itself as just being tired or just being realistic. But it is not real. It is residue, the residue of undisciplined thought, unprocessed emotion, and unclaimed power. So stop running. Sit, face yourself. Ask, what fear am I feeding? What lie am I repeating? What emotion have I allowed to drive my decisions? And then cut it off, not gently, but with force. Replace it, reframe it, rewrite the mental code until the script of fear is overwritten by the language of strength. And from this new mind, you must learn to move decisively, because wealth does not reward hesitation, it rewards clarity. The man who hesitates because he feels unready will watch opportunities pass him by. But the man who knows that readiness is built in action will leap not blindly but boldly, not carelessly but confidently. Decisiveness is the child of clarity, and clarity is born of emotional neutrality. That is why everything in this lecture leads to the same throne. Control your mind and you control your life. No more waiting, no more hoping, no more begging reality to change while your thoughts stay the same. Take your place at the helm of your consciousness. Seize the levers of emotional detachment, mental discipline, and deliberate thought. And understand, once and for all, you do not solve stress by chasing money. You solve stress by becoming the kind of mind that money cannot intimidate. The sovereign mind is not rich because of luck. It is rich because it is not afraid. It is not afraid because it is not chaotic. It is not chaotic because it is disciplined. It is disciplined because it is detached. And it is detached because it knows the truth. Emotion is a servant, not a king. There are two kinds of people in this world, those who believe wealth is built outside of them, and those who understand that wealth is first constructed in silence, in discipline, and in decision within. I tell you now, and I tell you with the fire of absolute conviction, if you build wealth only with your hands, you will lose it with your habits. But if you build it with your mind, your spirit, your principles, not even the storms of fate can take it from you. Let me now reveal to you the unseen architecture of wealth, the foundation that guarantees calmness in the face of chaos. This structure is built not of strategy, but of thought, not of hustle, but of harmony, and not of knowledge alone, but of the wise use of that knowledge guided by character, governed by discipline, and upheld by vision. The first beam in this architecture is what I call the non-reactivity principle. This states, the more reactive you are, the poorer your decisions become. The market knows this. Salesmen depend on it. The world profits off your panic. You must withdraw your energy from reactivity. You must learn to observe without absorbing, to listen without collapsing, to watch without becoming entangled. The man who masters this principle becomes unshakable. He hears bad news and stands taller. He sees decline and sharpens his plan. He receives criticism and grows sharper, not softer, because he understands the deeper law. He who does not react controls the tempo. The second beam is what I name the focus filter. In the age of distraction, focus is the new wealth. You will never reach financial independence with a scattered mind. Every tab you open costs energy. Every notification you allow invades your attention. Every irrelevant opinion you entertain slows your progress. You must begin to guard your focus like a vault guards treasure, because your attention is treasure. If others can command it, they can command your direction. And if they can command your direction, they can command your destiny. So filter ruthlessly. Remove what does not align. Cut what does not build. Silence what does not strengthen. This is not cruelty, it is precision. The focused mind is like sunlight through a magnifying glass. It burns through doubt, through hesitation, through excuses, and ignites results. The third beam is the delayed emotion rule. It is simple. Never trust the first wave of feeling. Let it pass, then decide. A delayed emotion is a purified one. A purified emotion is one that has been filtered by reason, and it is only from purified emotion that intelligent action emerges. Do you want to make more intelligent investments? Delay your reaction. Do you want to avoid stress in negotiation? Delay your judgment. Do you want to spend with wisdom, not emotion? Delay your impulse. Delay is not weakness. Delay is leverage. It gives you time to see the game, to measure the terrain, to think like a king, not a captive. And it is kings, not captives, who build lasting wealth. The fourth beam is internal consistency. This is the power of making your daily behavior match your long-term aim. Without this, you live in contradiction. You say you want wealth, but you avoid discomfort. You say you want peace, but you invite chaos. You say you want clarity, but you drown in distraction. This is how most people live in quiet contradiction, and contradiction creates stress, not the world, not your bank account, your inconsistency. But when your inner world, your values, your beliefs, your routines, your words all begin to line up in a single direction, stress disappears, doubt fades. You no longer wonder if you will succeed. You know, because every part of your life is moving with you, not against you. This is internal congruence, and internal congruence builds external confidence. Now the final beam, the cornerstone, the force that supports it all, emotional transmutation. This is the highest level of mental alchemy. The true master does not destroy emotion. He redirects it, he takes fear and converts it into preparation. He takes frustration and channels it into execution. He takes envy and transmutes it into inspiration. He takes desire and reconfigures it into daily discipline. Emotion, when left untamed, is chaos, but emotion, when governed, is power. Just as fire can burn down a house or forge steel, emotion can ruin or refine your life depending on the presence of a disciplined mind. You were not given strong feelings to destroy you. You were given them to build with. But only if you take the time to train them, to sit with them, to name them, to use them as tools rather than masters. This is what separates the emotional beggar from the emotional sovereign. One begs the world to change, the other uses his feelings to create. Now I ask you directly, do you believe your stress about money is because of money itself? Or is it because your thoughts are untrained, your feelings undirected, your focus divided, and your decisions reactive? You already know the answer. Deep within you, the truth has been waiting, and it is this. If you do not master your inner world, you will always fear the outer one. But once your mind becomes your ally, money becomes your servant. Stress becomes your teacher. Emotion becomes your foil. And you become unstoppable. You have now come far farther than most will ever dare to travel, because this path does not reward the curious. It rewards the committed. It demands that you turn inward, not outward. That you master the unseen, not the visible. That you sit in the furnace of your thoughts and forge yourself anew. Now let us bring every piece together without conclusion, without finality, for mastery is not an ending. It is a condition of being. Let us begin with a principle so simple, so quietly explosive, that it slips past the frantic mind of the undisciplined. I call it the doctrine of inner economy. It is this. The man who spends more emotional energy than necessary will always be bankrupt regardless of his income. You have been taught to track your dollars. You have not been taught to track your attention. You have been trained to fear an empty wallet. You have not been trained to fear an unfocused mind. But let me tell you now, a scattered mind will cost you more than a failed investment, more than a job loss, more than a missed opportunity, because all wealth begins in thought, and if the thought is broken, no success can hold. So guard your energy, spend it wisely. Do not give worry your focus. Do not give fear your inner airtime. Do not allow your enemies, whether external or internal, to rent space in your head without a purpose. Become ruthless with yourself. Become disciplined not by punishment but by design. Rise each morning with intention. Decide who you are before the world tries to tell you. Sit in silence, not to escape, but to calibrate. Write what you will do and then do it. Train your voice to speak what you intend to become. Train your hands to act before you feel ready. And train your heart to obey your mind, not the reverse. What does this make you? Not a machine, not a robot, not a cold, detached shell of a human being. Number, it makes you available, available to clarity, available to intuition, available to opportunity, because you are no longer consumed by survival mode emotions. Most people are not poor because they lack intelligence, but because their nervous system has never experienced peace. They chase money not to thrive, but to calm their panic. And panic, like any drug, demands more and more without giving anything real in return. So listen closely. If peace is not your foundation, wealth will become your burden. But if peace is your root, if your internal world is stable, trained, and under your command, then wealth becomes an amplifier. It does not enslave, it obeys. And now, at this final threshold, I will give you what may be the single most powerful mental tool in the world. If you understand this, internalize this, repeat this, it will change not just your financial stress, but your very relationship with power itself. It is what I call the inner command sequence. It is made of 3 immovable truths. I am not my thoughts. I am their commander. I am not my emotions. I am their sculptor. I am not my circumstances. I am their author. These 3 lines, spoken daily not as a chant, but as a decree, will rewire the root system of your psyche. They will burn through victimhood. They will shatter the illusion of helplessness. They will uproot the hidden beliefs that have kept you poor in spirit and poor in reality. Say them with me now, not softly, but with full conviction. I am not my thoughts. I am their commander. I am not my emotions. I am their sculptor. I am not my circumstances. I am their author. When you speak like this, when you live like this, when your life becomes an unbroken series of decisions aligned with this philosophy, then you are free. You are no longer a statistic, no longer a reactor, no longer a prisoner of your own past. You are sovereign. And the sovereign does not stress about money because the sovereign knows that wealth is not accumulated by effort alone, but by the clarity, calm, and consistency of a mind that has been conquered. You now have that mind. You may not see the riches yet. You may not feel the freedom in your bones yet, but it has already begun because you have turned the gears inward, because you have broken the false belief that money is out there and realize that money, like all power, begins in here. Do not return to the old noise. Do not speak of not enough. Do not seek pity for your condition. From this point forward, you are not the same. You are a mind under command. You are a force in motion. You are a being who builds, who decides, who disciplines, who becomes. Let the world do as it will. You will remain still, clear, driven, untouched by panic, aligned with principle, in harmony with power. Because you know the truth now. Stress is a signal. Mastery is a choice. And wealth, real, permanent, unshakable wealth, is the byproduct of a sovereign mind. And you, my friend, are now its ruler.